I Yeah, come on in. Together. Caleb, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, for sure. Congrats on the win, Pablo. Got a couple kind of bigger picture questions for you. You guys have gone 15 unbeaten now at this point, ties the second best in MLS history. And you were actually part of one of those teams, I believe, 2016 in Colorado, going 15 unbeaten. So I guess maybe if you could just kind of reflect maybe a bit on this streak and maybe how it compares to other great moments in your career.
Um, to be honest, Caleb, I had no idea. And I think it's just, and I think I was the same way as a player. There's no time to really be excited about anything because the job isn't done. You know what I mean? And so, I think in terms of the streak, I think it's really about being really process oriented and thinking about the kind of team we want to be, what that looks like in the future, and then working towards that vision every single day. And it's so interesting as far as streaks. I mean, you need a lot of fortune. You need games like tonight where I don't think we were at our best in many of the phases, although maybe the attack and transition phase we were quite good. Um, but you still find ways to get results, and that's really a testament to the mentality of the group. Going to Canada, coming home for a day and a half, and then coming here to Kansas City, and I mean this place was an oven. And so I think it's really um, a testament to the mental fortitude of the group to keep doing it. And again, we don't talk about the streak. It's not important for us as much as it is getting better every game. And so, but if you try to get better every game and you look at yourself honestly and reflect, I think you end up in situations like this. So again, I think it has a lot to do with the processes that we put together as a team, that allows us to be where we're at. But I tell you what, that was a crazy game. And I think we gotta recover quickly from this, from the travels, from the heat, and really put our best foot forward against a really good LA Galaxy team at home in front of our fans, and really finish this week off with a bang.
Yeah, you mentioned the transition scoring there. After going, having the 0-0 draw over the weekend, you guys come out and score four, get the win. It was actually your 50th win with the team, so congrats on that. But I guess, yeah, like maybe talk a little bit more about that, scoring four after scoring zero.
Yeah, I think every team poses different challenges. I think in Montreal, they got a lot of numbers behind the ball, gave us a lot of possession, and we just weren't incisive with it. I felt this game was really interesting because when we broke a line or two, it was, a 4v3 or a 5v4 to goal. And typically, if we don't have those kind of looks, once we break a line, we still want to go to the goal, but then we want to set up our offense as well. And but the way the game unfolded was their defensive transition wasn't as good as our attacking transition, so we had numbers up, and so it'd be crazy not to go to goal. And so we found ourselves with better opportunities than we did in Montreal. And then the one thing is, because of the heat, we just couldn't get a lot of pressure on the ball. And so we ended up falling into a lower block because of that. And those are some things that we'll look at in lieu of the game against LA. But yeah, this was a different game than the previous one. The tactics from Montreal were different than Kansas City, the players. And so I'm just grateful that the guys really took advantage of those moments in transition to put four goals in the back of the net.
Awesome. And then lastly, just wanted to ask you about the defense real quick. Gavin comes back in, gets 8 saves, but then you have Brian Vera gets a yellow, so he won't be available on Saturday. I guess maybe just some general thoughts on that back line tonight.
Yeah, I think for the most part they did a decent job in defending, right? Because again, when you're away from home and you have a lead, teams are going to throw numbers forward, and they got the crowd and they got momentum, and I think for the most part we defended well. I think Gavin had a great game. kept us in the game quite a few times, made some big saves. I mean, he's just got a knack of, pulling balls out of the net. And he did a great job. And then again, losing Vera obviously isn't ideal, especially with Glad and, Marcelo Silva and Holt. But I think it's never been an issue. We don't talk about players not being available. We talk about the next guy stepping up and having the right mindset to come in and contribute. And what the guy said after the game was, our performance wasn't the greatest, but our mentality was super strong. And so the expectation is whoever comes in to spell Vera will definitely give his best to keep things ticking.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yep.
Any other questions for Pablo, Sam, Sean, anybody else? All right,
Easy peasy.
hold on for players.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pablo. Hey guys, we got Gavin Beavers here. Diego Luna will be in momentarily, but Caleb, you want to lead us off again?
Yeah, for sure. I overheard that little bit from Trey on the penalty. Can you just kind of take us through that moment and how you were able to stop it?
Yeah, no, we obviously have we've watched PKs before the game and go through the whole scout of everybody. I didn't know if it was gonna be Tommy or if it was gonna be him, Russell to take it. But went over to my water bottle, went to look at it, and then Russell actually came over and was like, "Hey, can I get a sip of your water?" And then I was like, "Oh, I said yes," and I was like, I shouldn't have said yes because I realized that all the PKs are sitting on the water bottle. So then I was like, I don't think he's gonna switch it up. He's hit 13 the same direction. I think I'm just gonna go at the same spot, and he ended up hitting the same way, and got a good push and ended up making the save. So yeah, it's definitely cool.
Yeah, congrats on that. And then I mean, on the night in general, you had 8 saves. Pablo was just in here talking about how you kind of have a knack for just getting those big saves. What is it about I guess your ability to do that? How have you gotten to that point? And what was it like tonight getting those big saves?
Yeah, no, I think, I like a good strength of mine, is trying to be a match winner at the end of the day, and go out there and do what I can for the team. I think Mirza and Zach and Tomas, the whole goalkeeper group, we all prepare each other the right way and we all feel ready to go. But yeah, no, I appreciate that from Pablo. And I think, that is something that is a strength in my game and just getting in the right spots at the end of the day. So.
Awesome. And then Pablo mentioned that you guys don't really talk about streaks as a team, but I thought I'd let you know. So 15 unbeaten ties the second best in MLS history as far as a streak without a loss. I guess how do you kind of put that in context, and can you talk about what's been special about these couple months for you guys?
Yeah, no, I think, obviously we don't talk about that stuff. I think we're just going out there to do the same thing every game, and have the same agenda, and play the way that we know how to play. We have high expectations for ourselves this year. We expect to go out there and win and dominate and, perform well. And I think, throughout this last month and a half, we've had, some games that, haven't gone our way to start out, but we've just grinded it out. And like I said before, in another one, like we're all dogs. I think at the end of the day, we're going to hustle for each other. We're a big family, we all want the same thing. We're all striving towards the same goal. So I think that, it doesn't change game to game. It's just, everybody's ready to step up and do their job. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
Anybody else for Gavin? All right, thanks, Gavin.
Cool. Appreciate it. Oh.
Caleb, you can lead us off. Anybody else that wants to ask questions, please raise your hand.
Congrats on the win, Diego.
Thank you.
That was a really awesome long ball you had there to Julio on his goal. I was wondering if you could just kind of take us through that play, what you saw, and kind of what went well for you there.
Yeah, no, I got the ball in the half turn. I looked up and, everyone was shifting this way and I saw him in the corner of my eye. And I know Endo's, always making runs and everybody thought I was going to undress and I just kind of whipped it in behind that, that center back. And then, Endo's super fast. So he broke away and got that one-on-one.
Yeah, and then this game in general kind of had I mean, obviously there were a lot of goals scored. had kind of a faster tempo to it. Do you prefer games like this where you kind of feel a little more free and there's more transition play?
No, we don't want that, right? We don't want a tennis match where it's just back and forth, and us just running. We're a type of team that wants to control the game, and we like the ball. And then, of course, our reactions and stuff are top tier. So, that's what we want, but we don't want to have this transition game and just back and forth. And I think you saw, that's not the type of game we want. And we can still do it, and we get 3 points, but that's not, we're not proud of that. That's not what we want to do.
And then positionally, you were playing a little more centrally tonight, I believe. Was that a different experience at all for you?
Yeah, I think it was yeah, it was just kind of playing on the right 10 and up top a little bit in the press side. But yeah, I think it was just a little bit different because I've been used to playing on the left for a good amount of time. And I like to play the 10, and I would say I'm natural at 10, but it was kind of different to hop back in that position after playing on the left for so long.
Gotcha. And then from a team perspective, I know Pablo said you guys don't talk about streaks, but you guys have gone 15 without a loss at this point in the season. Ties the second best streak in MLS history. I was wondering if you could just maybe talk about what you feel like has been special about this group over the last couple months that's allowed you to reach this point.
Yeah, I think we don't really talk about that. Yeah, it's right. I think we're just taking one game by game, one game by day. I think it's just like whatever game we coming up, we focus on that game. We have our game plan. We go into that game with belief. We go into that game with the hard work, with the grit that we have, and I think we just do. Our mentality just shows, right? Games like this, it was very hard physically. The weather was hard, very humid, very hot. But we don't make excuses. We fight through everything, and I think that's just the team, and that's just the guys we have in the locker room, and that's just everybody. The subs that come in, the guys that start, rotations, everybody's on the same page, and we're gonna just continue to look forward to doing that more often and more.
Uh, one more for me real quick. I noticed on the broadcast they mentioned that how young this group is. I think it was like the sixth youngest in MLS or something, and especially tonight with you, Andreas, and then Fidel, kind of up there in the attack. What's it been like, I guess, developing your game with a bunch of other kind of younger guys that are in a
Yeah.
similar position?
I think it was pretty cool, right? Yeah, we had our 4 guys up top. 3 of them were U23s, and then we got Ojeda in the midfield, Emeka, all young guys. And I think it's just cool to show that it's not the age, it's just you work hard, you get your chance, and we can perform, and we get the results with anyone who's coming onto the field. And whether the subs come in, whether we have a rotation, starters, doesn't matter. I think everybody's doing their job, and that's what makes teams at the top.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else for Diego? All right, we'll see you at the stadium Friday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Diego.
Yeah.